Everyone's trying to be an overnight success. It doesn't work that way. I built a business and exited it that allowed me to basically live the type of life I wanted for the rest of my life.
You changed my life more than anyone else ever. Welcome back, everybody, to Exit Rich. I'm with Travis Riggy. And the funny part is, I've known Travis for probably 5 or 6 years now. And I would not be doing what I'm doing without Travis Riggy and his story. And Travis, thank you so much for being here. We're going to jump into that. But there's no way Lance Bachmann sold 6 companies now for hundreds of millions of dollars if it wasn't meeting you and hearing your story. It's crazy how the world works about being in a room with the right people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Travis, why don't you introduce yourself real fast, and we're going to jump in and find out some questions about how you sold your company, what you're doing now, and you're still working.
Yeah. Yeah. I still remember when we were at the bar at Vertical Track and you looked at me, you're like, my company could be worth how much? And then, a couple months later, you're like, hey man, I sold it. And I was like, well, he moves fast. But yeah, my name's Travis Ringy. I owned a company called Pro Skill Services here in Phoenix, and in late 2020 sold it and tried to retire. Wasn't working out for me, and so I partnered up with Ishmael and on the NUVE project, the thermostat project, and so that's what keeps majority of my time right now.
So let's talk about the first thing, your exit, because now here's a true story, right? And it was 2020 Vertical Track. At that time, I sold no companies. Now you got to think about that.
Mhm.
We're in 2025 right now in, what's it, August? So it was almost probably June or July Vertical Track. Was it maybe May, whatever it
Yeah.
was? So 5 years later, I sold 6 companies now because of meeting you. Like, that's what people, when people say don't go to conferences, don't, like, people say that conference is trash, or don't waste your money on a mastermind, or don't waste your, because now I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on meeting people
Yeah.
because now I know what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
I fly out, I have anxiety, I speak right before you, I tell my story, I'm walking out of the room, there's a panel up there, you're up there with, were you up there by yourself or were you with someone else?
No, we were on a panel there.
That panel. And it was on a panel, I think Bill Rizzo was on your panel. Guy couldn't sell water to a man in dehydration, but that's besides the point, right? And so, but, and all I hear is, you wouldn't say the number, and Tommy told the number.
No, yeah, I remember.
And I went, "What?" Do you remember when you came off stage? I walked right up to you.
Yeah.
You might be the first person that's ever come off stage I've ever walked up into in my life, hand to God.
Yeah. No.
And, like, you're a good-looking, built guy.
Oh man.
You are, I mean, and you're very charismatic.
Thank
And I was like, this is everything you can't stand about a guy. And then you just hear yourself for as much as you sold for. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, but I own an HVAC company that's not far off. I
Yeah.
got to see if this is true or not. And I was like, hey, can I borrow you for 15? It turned into almost 3 hours, if you remember.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember sitting there, yeah. Yeah, because I was heading home after, and we were just hanging out, sitting there.
But you gave me all that time for free. Like, you didn't
course.
ask me for a nickel. You were showing me your LOI. You were showing me I was showing you my numbers. You were telling
Yeah.
me what to do.
Yeah.
You gave me the guy from SFP.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Can you,
Brian.
like, how many other people, because if we don't go through that experience, you don't give me that time, there's no way
Mhm.
I sell Dylan, like, so fast. There was no way. I had no clue what it was worth. And I remember calling my partner after talking to you. I said, how much would it take for you to get out and you be done? He's like, man, if I could get $5 million, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
I said, well, what would it here for your take would be about 10. He goes, shit, I'd be out of here.
Yeah.
And it was worth around
Yeah.
20 some million. You told me that's what I got.
Yeah. It's funny how many of those conversations start with what would it take? And then it's like, oh, especially in that, it was the heyday of multiples and stuff. And people were getting more than they thought they could. And so it just made sense. And, I think the market's changed a lot, and it's, companies are focusing more on operational excellence than ever before on their purchase, but there's still, massive wealth being created in this industry every day, and multiple millionaires being made through blue collar services.
Because when I heard your story, I never forget, you were like, I bought a boat.
Mhm.
I think you bought a house in Idaho, correct?
Mhm.
At the time, right?
Yeah, we were doing we were building a house in Idaho. Yeah,
Is that done? Assume it's done.
we changed plans. We moved back here, so
Oh, you moved back here?
yeah,
Okay. All
we're
right.
building another new house here instead. So
But and you were like, I have life-changing money, but enough. I guess you could have retired if you wanted to, but
Mhm.
you're not gonna live the life you want to by retiring, and you're still young.
Yeah.
I mean, how old are you? 40 years old?
38, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we sold when we were, early 30s, which our goal originally was, when we started the company is we always said, "Hey, if we could retire by the time we're 40." And my conversation started much like our conversation is, I was in Las Vegas with Tommy Mello and Aaron Vahe from Service Titan, and, Brian Cohen happened to be there from SF&P, and he's just like, "Hey, your brother was telling me at lunch about your guys' company. What would it take to get you guys to sell it?" And I was like, "Oh, we're young, man. You couldn't pay us enough. It's a great we're just getting our feet under us. It's finally making money." And, he's like, "Well, just give me, your go F you number." And so I did, and he's like, "Okay, let me take that back to, the office and see what we can do. Send us some information." And then they called me, when I was in Idaho a couple weeks later, and they're like, "Hey, what if we not only, got you that number, but we got you more than that after fees?" And I said, "All right. I mean, we'd be interested." And then, as the story goes, they got us about 10 million over what they guaranteed us. So,
I mean, and that's the thing about, and me and Brian got off to a bad start. I mean, obviously, I mean, the brokers, someone like Brian is good. I recommend brokers to anyone.
mhm.
But you just got to make sure you know the numbers.
Yeah,
Did you guys do your own quality of earnings, or did they do it for you
we did it through them.
through them?
Yeah.
Which is smart. I mean,
Yeah, we had real clean financials, so it was pretty simple. You know, other than a couple of accruals. One thing they did, and I'll always tell the story because is really it really saved us a ton of money. Is Fred, who is the principal at SF&P,
yes.
he said, when we went through all of it, we finally said, "Hey, we're gonna go service champions." He said, "All right, but with their LOI, I got to change something." And we were like, "Yeah, whatever, man. We don't. There's a lot of money. We're good." And the one thing he changed that he got them to agree to is that he changed in the LOI that non-performed membership services would be treated as a debt-like item and so it wouldn't affect the multiple. It wouldn't be an EBITDA adjustment because they like to take those as EBITDA
Of
adjustments. So it's
course.
like, "Hey, you charged for this, but you didn't render it, so that brings your EBITDA down." And we didn't realize how catastrophic that was until we go to the closing table and they tried to reduce our EBITDA by like $600,000. You
Which
know,
times 10, that's $6 million.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Fred went back and goes, "No, no, no. In the LOI, you guys accepted that that'd be treated as a debt-like item that'd be paid at closing. So you're not adjusting it, their EBITDA. They just owe you $600,000 in membership income. So instead of 6 million, it costs us 600,000." And so that they learned through doing our quality of earnings for us is when they're going through it, they're like, "Hey, you guys didn't accrue for your memberships correctly. You didn't add them to your balance sheet." And,
Correct.
and, and so it's, monumental. It more than covered all the fees of the transaction and all of our lawyers and all that stuff. So,
And that's why you pay for people that have actually done it, been around it, know how to do it. You know, let's get into this, right? You and your brother were losing money at first when you guys built the company, correct? You guys were, and then all of a sudden it just skyrocketed.
yeah, we weren't losing money. We ran a good operation. The problem is that my brother and I, we grew up like most people that get into the trades. It's like, let's just be cheaper than everyone else.
Mhm.
But we ran super efficiently. Even when we sold, our overhead was at 21%. We were only spending 2.5% on marketing because we had such high penetration
Of zip codes.
of market share in
Yeah.
certain zip codes, like
Correct.
over 80% in our home zip code, which is pretty astronomical. So we didn't have to spend a lot of marketing, but we were making like 7 to 8% a year. And we're just looking at each other, killing ourselves. And we're like, is this even worth it? Like, why are we working so hard? We're not making any money. And so my brother, I've told the story a lot. People have probably heard it, but my brother always came into the office later. He did all the marketing. So I would come in early, get the guys going. I ran more like sales, install, and operations. He ran more marketing. So I'd get there at like 5:30 or 6 with the install crews and get them out the door. And I came in on like New Year's Eve and my brother was in the office. And I was like, "What are you doing here so early?" He's like, "Dude," he had read the book, some book about pricing. I forget what it is, but it talks about like setting your hourly rate and stuff. He's like, "We're not charging enough, and I'm so tired." I was looking at our profit and loss for the year, and we didn't make any money barely again. And like, I'm not going to do this anymore if we can't make money. I was like, so what are you doing? He's like, I'm raising all of our prices 30%. And I was like, oh, we're going to go out of business. This dude, our customers are not going to pay that. He's like, that is still cheap for the quality that we offer, because that's what we took the most pride in, is like quality of service and quality of installed product. And so, we did it, and, we were still low to mid market in pricing, but it worked for us with our low overhead, and we closed, after add backs at like 21% EBITDA. And, that's how it went. So we went from 8 to 21 in like a 14-month span and sold it. So we never even ran the business for more than a year actually making money. And it would have been interesting. I don't know if we had done it for a few years, if we would have even sold the company. Cause then it's like we could have started enjoying a higher quality of life and investing into, more middle management. We are lucky that, our one of our childhood best friends, Garrett, was our general manager, and he dealt with all the day-to-day stuff that let us just really steer the ship. So we already enjoyed a pretty decent quality of life, but the stress was still there, of course, of
Oh yeah.
being a business owner and having all your eggs in one basket. And then Drew, who started as an installer, worked his way all the way up to operations manager with us, and he's actually the one that runs our roofing company now. Um, between him and Garrett, they took the brunt of the load. And so had we not, had we experienced, printing that 20+% profit a year, I don't know that we would have sold it.
You know, but it's still life-changing money for you
Of
and your
course.
brother. Like, it's,
Yeah.
because people don't realize that, because obviously, I've sold 6 companies now, and every time I ask somebody, what does it take? Because I'm not the one. I only sold one company where I got to dictate
Right.
what we're getting. That was one SEO, right?
Yeah.
The other 5 was always coming down to, what does my partner want? Because
Mhm.
he's the one has to,
Yeah.
we gotta live with that, right? I
Yeah.
already have money. Like, you gotta be happy with this exit. If you're not
Right.
happy with this exit, you're gonna be pissed off, right?
Yeah.
So, um, but like, some people will say to me before I partner with them, and obviously people reach out to partner with me all the time. I'm like, well, what's that check number you want? And it's from as low as 2 to 3, which is still life changing money for the average American,
Of course.
right? To some people will say to me, and as soon as they say this to me, I want 50 fucking million. I'm like, hey, well, yeah, you might as well
Become
just
a common number for some reason. I'm like, do you know how much $50 million is? I mean, if you put $20 million in the bank, beyond, buying yachts and private jets, you can basically live any kind of life you
life you
want.
want. Because just on 20 million, 5%'s $1 million a year,
Yep.
right? That's guaranteed $1 million a year,
Yep.
80,000 a month.
Yep.
Like, you're living, unless you just are a total lunatic,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
you're living if you can't live off $100,000 a month, a good life with
Right.
no debt,
Right.
there's a problem.
That's what I tell everyone. I'm like, hey, if you can after taxes clear 20 million, I mean,
Like, I own a bunch of rental properties. I cash flow over 100,000 plus a month just in my rental properties.
mhm,
A positive to me, right?
right.
And I tell people I can never work again, and I can live off of the cash flow.
Yep.
Like, if people don't understand, and it's well over 100,000 a month. Like,
Yeah.
when you're cash flowing like that, there's a problem if you can't live.
Of course.
And I don't think people understand when you say I want a $50 million check themselves, but that means we got to get $100 million check, because I get half,
Yeah.
right? So that means $100 million. I just want to break this down. That means we probably have to do somewhere around 8 to 10 million EBITDA.
Yeah.
That means we're going to do $50 million a year in revenue, finely tuned operationally.
Yeah.
You're only doing fucking 3 now.
Oh, and they want it done in 18 months.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I could get you in 18, 24 months a $10 million check, which I've done and proven now multiple times, but I'm not going to get 50 million. So I just shut that conversation right
Yeah.
down, because people are so delusional on the numbers these days. I think you're seeing more of that too, where people are like, yeah, I want this big number. I want this big number, instead of being realistic.
I think people have just kind of become numb to the numbers, even just hearing, like, you've got, the billionaires of, and it's all over TV with Elon and Zuckerberg and stuff. And people just don't really realize, you know, going from, hey, I'm making, a couple $100,000 a year to I just got a 10, 15, 20, $30 million check, the difference in that. And that, you know, invested, like you said, now they're saying 6%, you can pull 6% out pretty
Easily.
easily. And so it's like you start doing the math on that, and it's like you never have to work again. wouldn't advise it. Most people that stop working after being an entrepreneur just go absolutely crazy and get depressed. And
Correct.
so, that's another thing that I always talk to people about on their exit is like, make sure you know what you're going to do. Because if you just think you want to play golf all day and go relax, you'll hate your life within 6 months.
I mean, I went through seller's depression.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through it really bad for about 6 months. To
Yep.
like where I was struggling to get out of bed. I was drinking every night, and I'm not an alcoholic. I mean, you've been around me. I have 2 drinks, not drink another
Yeah.
drink. Like, but during that time, I became one
Yeah.
because I was so depressed. My wife was like, "What is going on with you? Making all the wrong decisions, everything." And
Yeah.
but I was so used to being 15 years my identity.
Yeah. It's your whole identity is wrapped up in it.
And
100%.
then you better know what you're gonna do next because, yeah, if you think you're gonna go coach little Johnny in baseball
Yeah.
and golf, you're high as a kite. You're gonna be one scrambling, miserable person.
Absolutely.
Here's a question for you. So you got into roofing, and the one that I like about you, you're always transparent. How's it going for you? Is it as easy as people think to get? Because everyone now says to me after they see what I'm doing, I'm going into roofing. I'm going into roofing. I'm going into roofing. And I'm like, it's not fucking as easy as you think. I've had failures in it, and I had a lot of success in it.
You know, my brother and Drew that I mentioned really have taken the roofing company. They run it day to day, but I think like many things, you know, whether we want to admit it or not, home services, especially roofing, especially HVAC, are very weather driven.
Oh yeah,
I you can and so I mean the pros of the roofing business are that like it's very unsophisticated. Lot of really low level operators that just aren't very good at business, but that comes with its own set of cons of like they're typically usually cheap because they don't know their numbers.
correct.
So you got to overcome that with value, which values become kind of a throwaway word at this point because it's like if everybody just starts doing the same thing, but they're still cheaper than you, like it gets tough to sell. But yeah, I mean, starting a roofing business or buying a roofing business in Phoenix, Arizona, that's been drought ridden for, 15 years and it rains twice a year for, a tenth of an inch, maybe not the best decision. It's tough. And, I think the guys that do it successfully here, um, have a lot of new construction and, commercial work that keeps them busy between the storms. And coming from home services, we're like, "Hey, we don't wanna
You're
do any yeah,
anti-commercial.
we don't wanna do any of that." But then we have to, like, look at it and say, "Oh, well, that's where they're covering their overhead with." I mean, they weren't making money, but they were covering overhead.
Correct.
And so, I mean, it's been some hard lessons learned. I don't know, a good buddy of mine, Travis Smith, started a roofing company and, in a wetter climate, and it seems like he's doing great. So I think, climate and rainfall probably plays a role in it because in Arizona, you've got a bunch of 20, 30 plus year old roofs in these master plan communities that the underlayment's been shot for 5 years.
So I'll give you a tip because you're a bright guy and you'll get this and you'll use it. So me and Bill do because people come to us every day to partner with me for roofing, right? And once we get serious about it and we see like the guy's a good guy, religious, there's some type of founding faith and they're married and have children, right?
Right.
There's certain criteria I have when I partner with anyone. Um, the first thing we do is we go to Google AdWords
Yeah.
and we see what the search volume is.
Yeah.
And we see the historical search volume. And Bill and me will look at it and we'll go, yay or nay right away. And here's a true story. I think you know the two guys. I actually sent them to Ishmael.
Mhm.
Really nice guys. Bill, what was that guy's name? Nick? Was that his name? Nick Reddit? Really nice guys. They want us to partner with them. And we were going to until we got into the fucking AdWords. And Bill's like, I'm telling you, Lance, this isn't worth it. We have so many good opportunities. This is going to be an uphill battle. Nick was young too. He's in his 30s. So that brash, I mean, I'm an old man, right? Like, let's call it what it is, right? So I don't have time for piss and vinegar. Like,
Yeah.
just, like,
Yeah.
I just don't have time for it. Like, I just want coachable people that want to win, right? I don't have
Right.
time for fucking ego. And he's a nice guy. I'm not saying bad about Nick, but when you're in your 30s, I had a big ego, right? I wanted to prove something, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're 52, I'm just trying to get through my days as easy as possible and make as
Mhm.
much as I can.
Right.
But we looked at the AdWords in Phoenix. And I called Nick up, and his brother was such a nice guy. And Nick was young and brash, but his brother was just like the total opposite, the production guy. You can imagine what this
Oh,
guy's
yeah.
like, just. And I felt so bad telling him we weren't going to do it. And he was like, what the fuck do you mean? We spent probably 30 hours together. We agreed to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, but I know this guy Ishmael that will be there. I introduced him to Ishmael. I don't think Ishmael ever bought the one with him, but I don't know why. But we looked at the Phoenix weather pattern, and when you look at it, why would you go sign up for a headache to take Advil every day when you just go grab money up
Yeah.
and down the Northeast corridor, go to Texas, which is a great state,
Yeah.
all the Midwest area. Like,
Yeah.
you come to these dry states. I mean, I'm partners with Tom Howard
Yeah.
and Lee's.
Yeah.
And I was just telling you, very transparent, that's my smallest roofing company because of the weathering patterns. And
Yeah.
now that will sell, it's profitable, and we make money.
Yeah.
But it's not doing 25 million its first year in business like the
Right.
rest of my companies.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I'm a similar boat. Like, the company makes money, it's growing. I mean, we basically canceled, I don't know the exact number, but $3 or $4 million in commercial and new construction contracts. And so when we bought the company, it was at 10 million, and then we dropped that down to like 6.
Yeah.
And then they've rebuilt. They're doing like $1 million months pretty consistently. But so they're doing a good job. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, man, if we could get weather, we could grow it like crazy. It's just we just can't get the weather. So there's no urgency at all.
And the thing is, if you're doing $1 million a month, let's just say you do 10 million next year. And if you are at 20%, you're going to get $15-16 million for that company. So it's still a nice chunk of money.
Sure.
And let's just say you split it 4 ways even.
Yeah.
You're still all making $4 million. Like, it's not
Yeah.
terrible investment for 2-3 years worth of work of your
Right.
life. I know you want more just because there's more out there. But for listeners, I want you to understand you're still running a profitable business that you'll be able to sell. Because I know all your systems, procedures, operations, reviews, logo. Like, I know all that stuff's in order.
Yeah.
So, like, you're operationally sound.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that part, why it's so important when it peaks? Because you've been through it. You know they're looking for that stuff.
Yeah. I think that, my brother and I were talking about this earlier, is that a lot of people try to just say, hey, I'm going to hire a manager and put the manager in a position and then think it's just going to be like, oh, this load just got taken off of me. This guy's going to go perform. It's great. And you just can't do it. It doesn't work. You need to grow your managers with you. They need to understand your processes, because the people that you bring up with you are the ones that are going to set the expectation for new people, and not only set the expectation, but hold the new people accountable to that expectation. Right. And so I think, it's become kind of this like thing in the home service industry of like, I'm just going to grow this company from 0 to 25 million. And it's just, everything's going to go perfect. And I'm just going to just hire. And it just, for most people, it doesn't work. And I keep telling people, like, get out of this mindset that you're going to flip a company in 12 months and 18 months and quadruple the revenue. Like, people don't understand the processes it takes to take a company from mom and pop to, operationally sound while doubling year over year.
Think about this, right? You're in the know. You know a ton of people. Do you know anyone that sold 2 roofing companies in under 18 months as fast as I have?
I don't know anyone that sold 2 roofing companies, so nope.
But you're in the network of people. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're in the net, and that's what people don't realize, how fucking hard it is. But I have buddies of mine, friends of mine, like, yeah, I'm gonna go into the roofing space. I have people, after I see what you're doing, I'm like, guys, it ain't just Lance Bachmann. I have a whole team here I'm deploying. Bill Rizell, Mike Shelley, Joe Lynn, Kelly, like Jim. Like, I have a leadership team that's coming, a marketing department, accounting department. This isn't me.
Yeah.
Like, it isn't me. I never saw a fucking roof a day in my life. Yeah, did I negotiate a lot of the vendors? Do I deal with them? 100% I deal with them. Do I still handle a lot of the marketing stuff with that? Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Leadership, clearly. But outside of that, like, guys, you don't realize, you got to know your CSR metrics, your book rate. You got to know your appointment rate. You have to know your close rate, what your average ticket is. You got to understand by moving the metric. Like, people think, oh man, I should just advertise more. No, maybe you should get your close rate from 22 to 25%. Maybe you should invest into a training department, right?
Yeah.
And watch your close rate. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business, and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. Like, the dials are dials for a reason, I tell
Right.
people. Can you talk about that? Because everyone does just think now, I'm the next Travis Riggy, because it's social media. I think half of it's social media, but that's a whole nother conversation we'll get into.
Yeah, I think people see, it's same thing with Tommy Mello with A1 is that now everyone wants to be in the garage door space, and it's like, God help them. Like,
It's the average like it probably $1,500, $2,000. That's 5
at
right?
at the top level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, it's just funny that people see one person successful, but don't realize the work that went into making that success, and I think that's the hardest part is that everyone wants it, but most people aren't willing to put in the work. Um, so what was your question on
Why do so many people now think, I think it's because of social media, why so many people think they can just go open roofing, HVAC, plumbing companies, and don't realize you're gonna get your ass kicked in here. I'm not saying you can't do it, but you better have a good people around you, or you
Yeah,
better have a net. Like, I was fortunate I got to meet you, like, you guys all took me in. No one was rude to me. Everyone was, maybe it's that I'm an older person. I don't know why, but you're a whole circle. No one's ever been rude to me. Everyone's opened up
yeah,
everything to me. So I got a PhD in home services in less than 18 months by everybody.
yeah. I think home services for the most part are they're they're just full of good people. Honestly, I mean, my brother and I, we started our company at 20 and 21. So we were young by all accounts, and we got invited to join the Kohler Plumbing Advisory Council. So we'd fly once or twice a year to Kohler, Wisconsin, and we'd go through the tour, and then we'd sit in a room and help design, and give like
Yeah.
contractor feedback. And the only reason we did that was because we were meeting got other plumbers, because at that time we only did plumbing. It's like, man, we're learning so much from these guys. Like, and it's like you said, like the conferences are the conferences. You go, you sit through the you know speeches and all that stuff. It's fine, but it's the people you meet there and network with that are the real takeaways and the friendships you build through that. Um, so yeah, I think social media has made people think that it's probably easier than it is. But I think it too, just being realistic, is that from 20 end of 2020 to probably end of 2023, it's pretty damn easy. Like,
Because of COVID hit.
yeah, I mean, like people were spending money like crazy. There was a bunch of government money out there. Any business owner basically got PPP money. They're spending it on.
Without a doubt.
So there was a lot of cash in the market and people were spending it. I think we've seen all that tighten up drastically now,
Mhm.
and a lot of that, urgency is gone to spend money on the home, especially with, a lot of people are locked into their houses because they've got low interest rates, so they can't upgrade because they don't wanna go pay 6, 7+%,
Oh, without a
right?
doubt.
And so and then we pulled all of those, speaking for HVAC, we pulled all those systems. It is like during COVID, there's so much networking going on of like, hey, the flip model. Everyone started doing the
Flip,
flip
flip.
model.
Don't repair, do flips.
And so you took all these 10-plus-year-old systems that, a lot of us had been maintaining for years that were frankly running pretty decent, and all of a sudden they all got flipped, and they all got flipped, and people were willing to spend the money on upgrading. And so all these systems got pulled forward, and now you're looking around and it's like there's just not as many systems to replace. And so, we've really seen, I mean, I know people that are down 30, 40, 50% even year over year because they're maintaining new systems that they already installed, and there's just not as much opportunity as there was. So, um, I think that people get caught in the, Ishmael, for example, who grew NextGen. His story is he started in like 2016, sold in 2021, built it to $100 million during that time frame, which is
Insane.
he's one of the best operators I've ever met. The way he goes about it is different than anyone I've seen, but he gets results like crazy. Um, at NUVE, our thermostat company, he's probably built one of the best customer service and sales teams I've ever met in less than a year. And we get feedback.
Tell people what New Way is, 'cause I don't think a lot of people know what New Way is. So why don't you tell them?
Yeah, so NUVE is basically it's a thermostat for contractors.
But it plugs right into Service Titan.
It ties into Service Titan. It keeps their logo on the wall. The biggest problem, especially now, because, the customer acquisition costs has skyrocketed.
Without a doubt.
It's skyrocketed. So,
We could talk about why that too, but
yeah.
let's talk about New Way first.
So the biggest problem is that contractors fail to keep their customers, or even if they do retain the customer, the customer. I always ran through this when I was doing training for our new team members at NUVE. It's like, hey, you walk home from work, or you get home from work, you walk in the door, and it's hot in the house. What's the first thing you do?
Check the thermostat.
You go to the thermostat, and then the thermostat is set at 72 and it's 85 in there. What's the next thing you do?
I adjust it down to 70 or 69 or 68.
And then it doesn't cool. What do you do?
I'm calling my HVAC company.
And how do you find their phone number?
Me? I'd probably ask my wife.
Okay, well, maybe you're different, but what a lot of people do, Lance, is they Google it.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people would go. I guess I don't handle that.
Yeah.
So my wife handles everything
Yeah.
at home. But yes, I would ask my wife. So yes, you're right.
So you
Why not just have it on the thermostat then? Or like,
right, and so you're gonna pay for that customer again. You already have them. You have them probably in a service agreement, but people are lazy, and what they've been taught to do by Google is Google the phone number, and then they click a sponsored ad, and they charge you 2, 3, 4, $500 for that click and that phone call. And
and that's what the ads are up to. People don't realize
Yeah.
in the HVAC world, like you're spending 300 a click, 250 a click.
100%. Even LSA is
It's higher than-
150, $200.
Yeah, people
So-
don't realize.
So you just keep paying for this customer over and over again. So if you're paying for that click every time they need to use you, you got to charge quite a bit just to make up for that click, right? And so what NUVE does is it puts the contractor's logo on the thermostat. It lets the contractor monitor that thermostat if there's any issues with it, so that they get ahead of the problem, get their foot in the door. It gives them a back-end dashboard to track all that. You can send marketed messages to the thermostat and the app. The customers get a contractor branded app, so you own real estate on their home screen every day. It basically imprints the contractor's logo in the customer's mind that if they need anything for that system, they're using the app, the thermostat, and calling through that. So it lowers that cost of retaining that customer.
Well, there's no. I mean, no offense to New Way. I mean, how much could this thermostat even cost?
Yeah, it's a couple $100, 250 bucks, and it's less than one click on Google.
It's less than one click on Google, and I'm keeping my customer with me. There's nothing more important than
Yeah.
keeping my customer with me. And where you really make the money on it, I'm sure you know this better than anyone, is if I go out and do a repair and I put New Way in, then the whole machine goes down within inside 2-3 years. They
Right.
call you, and now you just put $15,000-$20,000 unit in. You just paid for the next 30 homes of yours. Like that's insane. I didn't realize that. I didn't know for sure. I knew Ishmael's was a big push, but I didn't realize it was that good of a product. I knew it was a good product, but I did not know it was. And Tom Howard invented it, correct?
Tom Howard had the initial thought. He was in Armenia with Sergo, who's our project manager. Um, his son had broke his leg. Tom's son broke his leg in Armenia and far out at some retreat. And so they basically, as the story goes, had a hour and a half drive to the hospital. So he put his son in the back seat, and Sergo drove him to the hospital, and he's like, "Hey, I've got this light which was made by Zuckerberg. It was like an open platform. It was called the Z Light, and Zuckerberg invented it for his wife when she's pregnant. And it basically the LED color, and it changed by the time, so that it wouldn't wake her all the way up if she needed to nurse the baby or something, I guess. And so he's like, "Hey, I've got this technology." And Tom's like, "Well, could you put a temperature sensor in it?" And he's like, "Sure." He's like, "Can we change the temperature of the system through it?" He's like, "Sure." He's like, "Well, we can make a thermostat out of that then, and we can tie it into service tighting." And so that's how it started. Tom is he's got a degree in accounting. He's no dummy. And he knows how expensive manufacturing is. And his good friend Ishmael had just sold NextGen for a large sum of money. And so he's like, "Hey, Ishmael, I've got this project for you. It could be huge, but it's going to cost a lot of money to get it off the ground." And, Ishmael's like, "Cool." And Tom said, I forget the numbers, but I think he said, he's like, "By math, you have a 5% chance of being successful at this. And because it's you, I'd give you 8%. And it's going really well." Ishmael's done a great job with it. But yeah, to your point, the way I got involved in the project is when I owned ProSkill, we used train monitoring thermostats. And for some reason, no one in the industry really wanted to hook these monitoring thermostats up, even though the capability was built into them.
Was it built to also integrate the Service Titan?
No, no.
Well, Service Titan is the big key piece, though, because almost every HVAC company worth their salt is on fucking Service Titan.
It is. It's a major benefit of it. The key piece is knowing when that system breaks, as you mentioned.
That's what I'm saying. But if I'm assuming you guys have a whole dashboard integrated to Service Titan that I can monitor all this, and somehow a red flag goes off or some type of alert
Yeah.
goes off. the system's down.
Right. Right. So that's the key part. And what
Man,
we,
I know the product and I haven't even been on the product.
so at ProSkill, we were putting them on new systems. And, I don't care what anyone says, we had some of the highest quality installs out there. New systems sometimes just break.
Absolutely.
And so we would be like, oh, crap, the system just broke. We got to call this customer before they call us because they're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And so we'd call a customer and say, hey, we noticed the system's not operating correctly. We stand behind our product 100%. We save time for you on the schedule. Let us know if that works for you. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Come on out. We appreciate you guys. And my brother and I, we sat back to back in an office. And he'd see me doing this, and he finally goes, he's a marketing mindset guy, right? He's like, hey, what if we put those thermostats on our members' systems that are like over 10 years old? Because I'm sure every HVAC guy that might be listening to this has had it happen where it's like you maintain a system, you've got them in membership, and you go out next year for the service, and it's got a new system sitting. And you're like, I've been doing basically losing money on this system every year to get the replacement, and you use somebody else. And so we did that. Basically set a precedent that if we had a member that had a system over 10 years old, we were trying to put a monitoring thermostat in, and it worked. And so Tom and Ishmael knew that, and they're like, hey, we want you to bring, because I sat on Train's thermostat committee.
Yeah.
I helped design parts of their diagnostics and give them all the feedback and stuff. And they're like, hey, bring that over here because we want to, build a lot of those features into NUVE, but we want to make it more centered on the contractor than the manufacturer, right? And so that's what we don't want to even want a customer to know the name NUVE. Like that's just the name of the company, but we brand it 100% to them. We help them build all the literature for
So
whatever.
you're selling to the contractors.
Only contractors.
Why would, give me an objection? Because I mean, I'm just trying to, what would a contractor say no to this for if they have service time?
People,
I want an objection because I'm like, there's certain no-brainers in life, and this just sounds like a fucking no-brainer if I owned an HVAC company. Like, if I owned Dilling, NUVE we'd be using.
yeah.
I just don't understand where the downfall is. Give me an objection. Come on. I know you don't sell it, but yeah, you're in somebody's sales meeting. You got to hear what an objection is.
No, I mean, contractors hate change. And if contractors hate change, their team hates change more. And so getting the guys on board to do it, also money. I mean, look, you and I understand the cost of marketing. And so we're sitting here saying, hey, it's cheaper than one click on Google. But for a guy to buy 100 thermostats at, $229 a piece and give those away for free to get the eventual payback, they don't understand the investment, that's an investment in marketing. That's not a cost that, and so they view it as a straight cost. And like,
I'd rather spend the $22,000, $23,000 that you just gave me that example of on giving 100 customers a free thermostat
yeah,
that have a 10-year-old unit
yeah,
than I would on Google. I can tell you.
Trust me, I try to convince people of that all day long, but they just look.
You shouldn't even have to. That's a no-brainer. I'm already in the home. You already spent your money to get into the home.
Right.
Make sure they come back to you.
And it's funny with our contractors, the highest utilization is on new system installs. And I'm like, guys,
you're missing the boat here.
That's a 10-year payback. You could put this on an old system and you could have, we've got so many customers that are finally starting to tell us their success stories of like, hey, we put this on in November. We just got the system replacement. And it's like, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to retain the customer for you to get the install. That's where the money's at.
I could see someone, and I guess this is the old Lance Bachmann, right? 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, if you would have said that math to me, I'd have been like, well, I'm just going to stick with Google or email marketing. But when you see the opportunity of I'm already in the home, I already drove out there. I spent the money on the lead. I spent the money on the tech to go out there. Most people lose money in their tech department.
Yeah,
that
of course.
right? So I already lost my money there, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to spend my time there. Now I got to worry about this customer calling someone else because even though I give you a 5-star experience, my sticker's probably just on the machine with 1 or 2 other stickers, right?
Right.
Or what I can say to this customer is, hey, listen, I know you have this thermostat here, but we have this new thermostat here. Even if I sell it for $100 or I just cover my cost, right? At 200, whatever it is, I cover my cost. It's going to tie in. It's going to let you know. It's going to alert us. It's going to tell us when something's wrong. We'll be out here inside of 12 hours to ensure that we have your unit up and running again. And it's going to be better than this piece of shit Honeywell that's on here right now.
Yeah.
Like it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
When it
Absolutely.
comes to a training thing, if in my opinion, for an HVAC company. I wish they had that for roofing, because if you can figure out, tell me when a roof's gonna go,
Yeah.
I can tell you this. I'd buy it. 229 acquisition, no problem. Sign me. I'd say, Ishmael, give me 1,000 of them.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing too, is that and Ishmael realized this early on, is that not only are we a, technology company, but really we're a mentorship company, because we have, Tommy Mello's an investor, Tom Howard's an investor, Aaron Gaynor's an investor, Cristiano's an investor, and then, Ishmael obviously is, CEO. I'm, in charge of the product. And so we have a great network of really successful high-end operators that are in the company. And so more than anything, we spend our time mentoring these contractors. And that's like, we have a full marketing department that helps our contractors build all their marketing, their membership plans, because that's what we try to train people on, is like, you don't need to sell the thermostat up front, but everyone wants to recoup that cost up front. It's like, no, because look, our most successful contractors, they're able to take their $995 monthly membership to $39.95, because now they have monitoring. It's like an alarm system. Customers will pay more for the higher level of service.
Here's a question for you. I'm assuming Apex, all these guys all have to be using this tech, because they're all on service time. Like, are the private equity firms just at your door saying, let's work out a deal?
We have some private equity firms, but, at the same time, private equity firms are always gearing up for sale. So, they don't want to make the long-term investments that may not pay off to them.
Wouldn't that be a CapEx to them, though, where you say it's a one-time cost, or no? I guess not. Maybe not.
No, because
Yeah,
you got to keep going.
Keep going.
And
No, I mean, I was just thinking, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, man, if I was Apex and I knew I had a 5-year runway
Mhm.
right before I recap and sell, I'd be like, guys, give me all this.
It's funny you say that, because one of the most common things we hear from PE-backed companies is that, like, "Hey, we're gearing up for sale, but after the next turn is gonna be the perfect opportunity for us to roll this out," because then they have
Have
that
a 5-year
runway.
runway. Yeah, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense here. Let's talk about okay, parents. Let's talk about this. You're a big family guy. You have a wife. How many kids do you have?
2.
2 kids. And, because I heard you talk on stage about your family.
Mhm.
I follow you on social media. You don't post a lot, though. We should post more, but that's a whole different
Nah, I'm a
conversation.
private guy.
Yeah, I mean, but talk about your family, and why do you think family is so important for people to be successful?
Well, I think it gives you the proper mindset and drive, I think it's grounding. Uh, without my wife supporting me and, trying to set a great example for my kids, I probably would have done a lot of things a lot different and dumber, right? But yeah, I think it's incredibly important, to set the right example and provide. I'm kind of an old-fashioned person, to a fault, I viewed so long, and that's why I talk about it on stage a lot, is that I got so wrapped up in, like, "Hey, I'm a provider," but I wasn't there for my kids when they were really young. When my son was first born and then my daughter was born, my wife had all of it on her own, and I, reflect on a lot of that, and I try to figure out why, and all I can come up with is it's what I could control. I was good at running my business.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I got, a lot of accolades from it. So it's like, I use that as an excuse to not be where I should have been with my family. And part of one of the major reasons I sold my company is that I realized that, and my wife was like, "I just need more support." I was like, "Well, if I could sell this company and spend all day with you guys, that's perfect." The flip side is spending all day with your spouse when you've been, spending 12
Yeah,
hours
it's
a
a
day
part.
apart. Like, I drive my wife crazy. So she was like, "Hey, maybe you should work again, but more,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I had this video, and I sent it to my wife this morning. You could see at like 6 o'clock, but like I see some of these things, and this is like why family is important. Why is this real? Where it says, the scene. He gives him a nod.
yeah,
Mm. And he knows. Fuck.
yeah,
And I always say this to my sons: the most important decision you'll ever make in your life, more important than where you go to college, what you do, what business you
100%.
live in, is the woman you marry.
Yep.
Because if she can't deal with your demons, if she can't deal with you, she can't support you, she can't make you better, you are in fuck city.
Of course.
I mean,
100%.
and most people don't understand that.
Yep.
Most people want the dime piece. They want the, like, I see these young kids on social media. They're trying to, like, I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to impress people. I'm like, man, you might want to go find yourself a salt of the earth. And you got to
Yeah.
be attracted. My wife's beautiful. I'm not saying,
Of
but
course.
you might want to find someone that's more beautiful on the inside than
Yeah.
they are ever on the outside. Because if not, it's a long haul. And you seem like you worship your wife and kids.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, and a lot of guys don't.
No, I got it made.
Huh?
I got it made. Yeah.
Here's I only have a few more minutes. I want to ask you this. What's it like being partners with Ishmael? Right? I got to ask the question because he has a big personality,
Uh-huh.
very big. He has a good heart. The one thing I say, people ask me about Ishmael all the time. I'm like, listen, he's just a ball buster by nature to everyone. It's just who he is. And I got,
Yeah.
like, you see my personality. I'm very like, just get the fuck away from. I got
Yeah.
100 things going on.
Yeah.
I don't have time for the nonsense. But he likes to joke. He likes to play. What's it like being business partners with him? Because I know he's about his money.
Yeah. You know, Ishmael's tough for some people. I'm a very sarcastic person and I like to talk shit with my buddies. So him and I kind of hit it off right from the beginning because it's like, oh, you could take a joke, you don't mind some ball busting. And so it's pretty easy for me to get along with him. He is one of the most generous people you'll ever meet.
Everyone says that it's close to him. Everyone says that.
Like I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I'm coming in. I'm taking my family to Disneyland, so maybe I'll stop by the office." He's like, "Oh, dude, stay at the beach house." I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't need the beach house." He's like, "No, stay at the beach house." And then I show up at the beach house, and he puts the Rolls Royce there for us to use while we're there. It's like he's so accommodating and wants everybody to he wants to share everything with everybody. And so, he's a very good-hearted person. He's far smarter than people think he is. Like, his mind is always I mean, I called him on the way down here for some advice on, some totally outside of the trades, and he's just very smart, very generous. But I mean, he is extremely aggressive in growing his businesses, and he is gonna protect his investments. And, I don't fault him for that. Like he's like I said, he's built some of the best teams I've ever seen, so he's good at it.
What advice for a young entrepreneur? Because you've done it. You're not like the fake gurus that I see on social media all the time, acting like they're millionaires. You're a young guy. You're good looking. You're humbled. I mean, when guys, you don't realize he gave me 3 fucking hours and did not know my last name when I met you at Vertical Track. You didn't even know you might have knew my last name from me speaking before you, but you wouldn't know me.
Mhm.
And you spent 3 hours going through you were telling me what to correct, what to do, how to do it. Like, what would you say to a young entrepreneur that wants to be the next Travis Rigg? Because some people just want to get there. What would you say to that person? Because you've done it.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this, and I think the best advice I'd have right now is don't rush it. Like everyone's trying to be an overnight success, and it doesn't work that way for the most part. I mean, if you've got large teams, they can go, but like if you're starting from scratch, go build a solid foundation, build your network, build your processes, and don't rush it. I mean, you know, we built our company over 10 years, 11 years before we sold it. That wasn't even that long of a time.
Really
Thinking
wasn't.
back, it's like through my 20s, I built a business and exited it that allowed me to basically live the type of life I wanted for the rest of my life. And so I think so many people have seen from social media, they're like, hey, I'm going to be rich in 2 years. And they try to rush this and they just end up in trouble. So I would say, don't rush it. I wouldn't say Ishmael be like, just go and leverage every credit card you can. And I just wouldn't do that. Like I own my business in cash. I did a lot of things wrong, but like my brother and I didn't have any debt. Um, and I'm not saying that's necessarily the right way to do it, but I think there's somewhere in the middle of like, hey, you could grow a great company growing 30, 40, 50% year over year profitably, building a really loyal customer base. But the best thing that you can focus on starting a business is the experience of your customer. And I think that's what's gotten lost over the last 5 years is that everybody's just trying to flip and the customer experience has been lost through that process. And if you can go in and build a great customer service process and deliver on what you sell, I think you're going to stand out.
Travis, I want to thank you. And I want to say this to you. My family thanks you. My children, my wife thank you. You changed my life. more than anyone else ever.
Oh, no.
That
I
I've
mean,
never
thank you.
like, when I tell you change because without you giving me that 3 hours at vertical track, which you never asked me for anything,
Mm.
there's no way I'm on the journey I'm on, and I'm the happiest I've ever been, right? I'm mentally healthier than I've ever been. And yeah, people are like, "Well, Lance, yeah, because you sold 6 fucking companies for a few hundred million." No, it's because without meeting you, I would have never believed in myself. Like, you were telling me you could do this, it's what it's worth. Like, you gave me the playbook.
Mhm.
Like, you gave it to me, and I will always forever be grateful to you. If you ever need anything, you let me know because I'm honored to consider you a friend, and my family thanks you wholeheartedly.
I appreciate that, man, and I'm proud of what you've accomplished. It's been really fun to watch.
I mean, so thank you so much. If you need anything, let me know.